Hello, I'm meteorologist Brad Werner from Region Weather Live, your YouTube source for weather across the Dakotas and Minnesota, with a look at your weather for this upcoming week. So to start off the week for Monday, we've got a bit of a split flow. We've got this jet stream way up here in the north. We've got this one further to the south, and in between, not a whole lot going on, really just some light mid-level winds. Now, there is just a weak little trough that is sweeping across from west to east. There is a little bit higher dew points in some of the areas across southern Minnesota, southwest South Dakota. So there's a slight small chance of a few thunderstorms down in southern parts of Minnesota, with maybe a little bit better chance in southwestern parts of South Dakota for your Monday. Now for Tuesday, that northern jet slips just a little bit further south and brings some stronger mid-level winds across the northern parts of our region. Meanwhile, that southern jet actually lifts just a little bit further to the north. We got a little bit of a ridge, but we've got this low pressure center, this little disturbance here, and that's going to be sending little short waves up and over the top of this ridge, bringing with it the chance of some showers and thunderstorms. So for Tuesday, we're going to be focusing on two different areas. We've got that northern jet that kind of slips down like that. We've got that southern jet in through here. And in between, we kind of notice where, again, some of the higher dew points are kind of across the southern portion of our region. But then also, we notice that at the surface, we have this cold front that kind of sweeps across from north to south as that jet stream kind of slips southward. It's going to be pushing along with it some cooler air, and along that boundary, along that cold front, is going to be pooling up a little bit higher dew points as well. So again, that cold front in through here, we've got at the mid-levels, we got those winds basically kind of coming up like this, with those disturbances riding over the top of that jet and moving down to the south and east throughout time. So it looks like for our Tuesday, our better chances for thunderstorms, again, are going to be kind of along that frontal boundary across northern parts of North Dakota and Minnesota. A few of those could be strong to maybe an isolated severe. The main threat there really is going to be the hail with that. And then on the southern edge, we're probably looking more like some storms developing maybe more so into Wyoming, and then moving across parts of southwest South Dakota, perhaps stretching as far as south central areas of South Dakota, kind of reaching that Missouri River Valley region later into the night, Tuesday night. Now for Wednesday, again, that northern part of the jet kind of sweeping from northwest down to southeast, really not a great look when you're looking at for severe weather, but it could bring at least the chance for some rain across some areas, and we'll take a little bit closer look at that here shortly on Wednesday. And then meanwhile, that southern half of the jet kind of dips way south, but we've got another little piece of energy that's going to be sweeping through our region for Thursday. But going back and taking a look at Wednesday, and here's that frontal boundary. We've got that cold front that sweeps right in through here. It actually kind of becomes a warm front as it stretches a little bit further to the west. And again, along that boundary is where we've got a little bit higher dew points pooling up, and where our chances of thunderstorms exist, really right in through there. And I think probably the better chance ultimately is going to be a little bit closer to this low that's developing out ahead. Remember, I said that second piece of energy starts to push in a little bit later, Wednesday night into Thursday more so. Well, here's kind of that beginning of it. And so out ahead of it is kind of that warm frontal, cold frontal boundary is probably where the best chance for storms are going to be on Wednesday. But again, perhaps that chance lingers down in the southern parts of Minnesota as well. Now for Thursday, we've got a little stronger winds that poke in. We've got a trough that moves in from west to east. Then along with it at the surface, we've got this low pressure area and a cold front that sweeps through from west to east, and a warm front that's nosing northward. And along it or around it, we've got these higher dew points. And so it's looking like ultimately on Thursday is probably going to be our best chance for seeing the possibility of a more widespread thunderstorms, and also the possibility of that severe weather threat. And some of that could actually start a little bit earlier in the day. I mean, we're looking right now 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, and this particular model has some of these storms well developed already across eastern portions of the Dakotas, western parts of Minnesota. And then by 7 p.m. already, those developed storms are already pushing pretty much into Minnesota and exiting out of the Dakotas already. Perhaps could continue to push eastward through the overnight hours into far eastern portions of Minnesota by around that midnight time frame. But backing up, taking a look at that afternoon hour, especially across the eastern Dakotas, we've got those Cape values around upwards of 3,000 joules per kilogram. And Cape is convective available potential energy. And as I've described it many times, it's how much gunpowder is in that barrel. So the higher the number, the more gunpowder you have in that barrel, and the more explosive these storms could be. All you got to have is something to trigger it, right? And we have that. We have that cold front sweeping from west to east, and we also have the warm front. So we've got a couple of things going on, and we have some mid-level support on top of it. So it's looking like right now Thursday is the day to watch. Now for Friday, we continue to have a pretty good punch of mid-level winds moving from northwest to southeast across portions of the area. But that main frontal boundary is way out into the Great Lakes. But there is a secondary boundary, a cold front that sweeps through from northwest to southeast once again across portions of the Dakotas and Minnesota. Now, the chances aren't going to be as good as with this main front that sweeps through, but there is a chance that this frontal boundary could set off a few thunderstorms later in the day on Friday as well. But then going into next weekend, because we've got this large system that with this long front that sweeps through and carries all this moisture with it and just jams it down to the south. And so what we're going to be left with by the weekend is actually going to be some pretty comfortable temperatures, with the dew points getting into only the 50s going into Saturday. Perhaps Sunday we've got a few 60s reaching back into parts of the Dakotas. But the other thing this is going to do for the weekend is it's going to cool us off. Look at this possibility for highs really in the 70s to even 60s across parts of northeastern parts of Minnesota. In Sunday, a little more of the same with those 60s to the northeast. Perhaps a little bit of a rebound starting to take place a little bit down in the southwestern parts of South Dakota. But take a look at this. The Climate Prediction Center for Monday the 14th until Sunday the 20th is below average temperatures. And now, generally speaking, right now, this time of year, our average high temperatures are anywhere from 80 to 85 degrees. So we're looking at below average, but even at that, we're still looking at generally 70s for the most part across the region. So not bad. I mean, actually, it's going to be pretty comfortable out going into next week, but the Climate Prediction Center is saying below average temperatures. Now, perhaps the good news, at least going into next week, is going to be the Prediction Center also says a little bit above average for precipitation as well. Well, and for those of you going to the Sturgis bike rally, it looks like Monday, Tuesday is kind of the better chance for showers and storms, and kind of the days you're going to want to watch out for a little bit down there. Otherwise, other than that, actually the rest of the week doesn't look too bad going down there. So if you're heading down there, maybe the later half of the weeks might be kind of the time to go down there. It's going to be a little cooler. The chances for rain won't be quite as good as well. Other than that, Thursday, man, we're going to have to be watching out for Thursday, especially across eastern Dakotas and across Minnesota. It's probably our best chance for severe weather. So make sure you tune in here and you hit the subscribe button down below, as well as the bell button. And I will make sure to be on live on Thursday to keep you up to date with everything that's going on with the severe weather. Otherwise, man, we've just wrapped up the Detroit Lakes Wee Fest, so some of those areas got rain down there. It wasn't too bad. Most of the rain was south of them, but we are also gearing up for fall harvest. We've got the wheat starting to come in, so that's really starting to take off now. And then also something to look forward to is the Great Minnesota Get Together. That's coming up real quick. The Minnesota State Fair coming up fast. So make sure you tune in here as well. That's another reason to subscribe, is you're going to want to keep up to date with the latest weather information. And so that's, again, another great reason. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit the subscribe button. At the very least, please just hit the thumbs up button. That helps my channel get recognized by YouTube and gets the word out there as well. All right, everybody, for Region Weather Live, I'm meteorologist Brad Warner, and everybody have a good day.